Anyways, once again, G4T, surviveandthrive.tv. If you haven't gone to the website, go to check it out, surviveandthrive.tv. It's in the description box. It's on the front page of my YouTube channel. It's on a lot of my annotations. This is a website I've been building with a great gal down in Encinitas, and we're starting to offer products. We've been offering book sales. I have a new book that I wrote the foreword on with CJ that is regarding urban survival, urban prepping. And we now are putting up a webinar with regards to getting prepared. I know a lot of people have told me they don't feel comfortable with the food supplies, and I know some of us are more prepared than others. I know because I've actually visited a lot of people, and some people prepare by going to Walmart. Others have tons of canned food, water, and they feel prepared. But we actually are offering an additional way you can get prepared on the website. So check it out. There's a webinar. If you get a chance after this video, check it out. I'll try to remember to talk about it again after we're done here. But I want to talk about the slow collapse, and I want your guys' opinion on it too as well, because what we're seeing here, in at least from what I understand, we're seeing this play out in a totally different way than maybe some of the crap hits a fan sites and some of the doomsdayers and some of the conspiracy truther movement is kind of portraying this. Of course, the mainstream media has just ignored it entirely. But I think maybe there might be a nuanced situation where you may feel comfortable with your preps. You may feel comfortable with your knowledge, food, water, security. But and you may feel comfortable with an immediate breakdown in law and order. But it's coming to in my opinion, I'm coming to believe that we're seeing a situation where unemployment is the main issue. And we've been talking about this for the last couple days. We're seeing 50% unemployment in college grads. Real quick, let me just check and see if you guys can hear me at all, because I haven't even checked to see if anybody can hear me in the comment section. Okay, great, it's working. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate that. Here's the situation. 50% unemployment, kids, they're graduating from college. I'm coming to understand that most college classes aren't preparing American kids for the future. We've been talking to 28-year-olds, 20-something-year-olds. Seems like they're ill-prepared to deal with the reality facing them. Sure, there's economic opportunities, but they're really, really bleak. And people are having to move. They're having to change careers. And there is a positive aspect, because if you can get your finances in order and you can get your frugality in order, there's actually a huge abundance of time that you actually can start enjoying too. So it's not just all negative. So one of the things I've been doing is when you are earning money, you have to save aggressively. Take any type of job training that you can get that's technical in nature, that you think you might be able to get employment in, networking with other individuals, and familiarizing yourself with any type of government assistance or medical assistance, or any type of availability of resources that you can use if you are unemployed. So one of the things that we're seeing a lot here in Southern California, is shared housing. People are having to move in together, and the problem is a lot of the times I'm seeing the younger people. Sometimes they're raising families, or single mothers, or they're not contributing. So what I make an effort to do is I always make sure I contribute to my shared housing situation, and I always make sure that either it's monetarily, physically, you help out. But if you are in a communal situation, you have to make sure you're pulling your weight. So in any case, you always have to make sure you're a benefit rather than a liability. And there's many things that we can talk about with regards to this, but this is one thing that's hitting me, is how do you prepare for a slow collapse? And it's almost like it's becoming common sense, because it's not sexy. These aren't the zombie hordes that are coming to your door to take your preps and to shoot you. It's almost like when I see those videos and I see people doing those videos, it's almost like it's not reality. I mean, basically what you're looking for is a very, very cheap place to live. You're looking to be very frugal on the money that you spend, and you're looking for better economic opportunities. And it's not sexy. It's very simple. First, if you're living in a big house, you want to downsize. If you have a large rental payment, you want to get it smaller, so you got to get something smaller, more frugal. Sometimes it's in a more dangerous area, and then security concerns come into play. But realize, even if you're in a bad area, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. In fact, what I've learned is many times you can survive even in a unsecure area, because in my area, as part of Southern California Inland Empire, sure, there's gang members here. There's guys, there's people that shoot people. But many times, if you're on the street, you learn what to do. Be careful. Try not to be out too late at night. Give people respect and and protect yourself. You actually find out that you can be safe, even in a somewhat unsafe environment. And I think, well, for myself, I think the cheapest living situation, and I know I've talked to other YouTubers about this as far as living situations, it's really to get your own piece of land that you can afford, and either get a trailer or get an RV that you've paid all cash for, you've paid off, and park that thing on there. That way you're in a living situation where you have almost zero cost. That's my goal, and that's what I advocate for people, is to get in a situation where your living costs are almost zero. I mean, I had a buddy up north. He was paying $3,500 a month for his house and his business. And I said, man, in this economic environment, you want to wipe that away. I mean, and he did do that. Now he's paying $1,000 a month for his rent for his new studio that he runs his business out of, and he's actually built a small livable area in there, and he has an RV. So he sees his kids once in a while because it's a personal situation, but he doesn't need a house. So if you don't need a house, you don't need all the expenses that go with a house. So this is the brass tacks, guys. I mean, this is like, you really need to get serious with being frugal. And then probably food would be a big expenditure. You need to look at ways you can be frugal, and the main way is just eating at home, cooking at home. And then even with clothes and things that you're buying, you got to start looking at doing things secondhand. It's very easy to go out and buy things new, but what I've learned is, instead of looking at brand new items, start looking at secondhand items. I mean, just right now, I walked to the secondhand store, Goodwill, and I was able to buy probably $200 worth of clothes for less than 30 bucks. I just bought my kids a great pair of rollerblades, high-quality rollerblades, for $5.99. So, I mean, some people may say, hey, that's ghetto living, that's poor living, but when you're in a situation where you have to be frugal, you go ahead and do that. Now, I'm not saying don't have fun. We go out to eat. I've even taken the kids to the movies. We do fun things, but we know how to go weeks, if not months, on a very frugal budget, and we learn how to do things for free and for fun. And people say, kids are super expensive. They're not. Kids are not super expensive. It's what you make it. If you buy them secondhand clothing, you take them to the park, you take them hiking, you take them for walks, you take them to the museum, you take them to libraries, you take them to community events. There's plenty of things you can do for free or very cheap with your children, and for them to have a great time, a great life. I mean, right now my kids are sharing one computer. They have a tablet that and I was thinking about buying them a new, like PlayStation 4, I believe they're out now, or like another PC. But I may not even do that, because I'm finding that with the more electronics these kids have, the less social skills they have. So my kids play musical instruments. They're involved in the school, and that's another pet peeve is the whole school situation. We're getting to a situation where public education, university education, and even high school, elementary school, it's getting to a situation where I'm really starting to question, the value of it. Now, of course, my wife has signed on to it, and she wouldn't homeschool. The homeschooling may be a lot of effort and a lot of work. I don't know yet, because we haven't tried it. But I'm just looking at the huge time investment it is just to take my kids to school, to pay for all the needs that the school requires. Just the clothing costs alone are expensive when you have a larger family. And today, when my wife went down, she was at the hospital, we had to make all sorts of arrangements just to pick up the kids. And the weird part about it is, with my job, we can travel for weeks and weeks, and if it wasn't for school, I could actually take my kids with me, and we could go to Northern California, we could go somewhere, but literally it ties you down to your area when you have the kids in school. You don't want to move them around. So in some ways, it kind of is a chain around your neck. The fact that the state requires mandated public education, and if your kids are late too much, then you get a letter from the DA, and you could possibly go to jail. I don't know, for child neglect or something if they don't go to school. It's actually illegal in California to send your to homeschool, even though a lot of people do homeschool. Technically, it's illegal unless you have a teacher's degree. Just no judge would probably put anybody in jail. So anyways, that pretty much sums it up for me, guys, is really look at ways you can be frugal. There's plenty of resources on the web. Something I belong to is Reddit. It's their sub Reddit called Frugal, and it's pretty cool, except when people just start showing off their bank accounts. I've been able to save this much, whatever. I like it when people post different ideas, and I get a lot of ideas from here. But basically, it's just the thing I do is when I get paid, I take my money and I buy all the necessary items I need. Usually they're physical items. If I need a part for my computer or my camera or clothing or whatever it is, I try to take care of that first. And then if we can put some towards savings, that's great too. Pay all your bills, and then if you can go 2 weeks with zero money or very little money in your bank account, that basically teaches you in itself. A lot of people say, oh, that's living broke, but it's not. I don't view it that way. I view it as you're training yourself to live without a lot of money. And I actually did that like 2 years ago. I went like 2 or 3 weeks without spending anything, and I was like, wow, this is so tough, so tough. But once you get over that hump, you start realizing that when you go take that walk or that bike ride, you go out for that drive, you don't need to pick up that coffee. You don't need to go pick up that food. You don't need to spend that extra money if you don't want. You have to start training your mind. I know I'm preaching to the choir here probably, but you got to train your mind to just be okay without any money. And that's something I've really learned how to do, where I can literally go days without spending any money, and like while I'm traveling. So that's a unique skill set to take on. So anyways, that's a link. I'll put that in the description box, and just basically talks about the slow collapse discussion. And if anybody comes into the chat room, maybe we can talk about that later. The other thing I want to talk about is there's a lot of talk about something big going down in April. So I don't know what it is. There's a lot of people talking about it on the internet, some major collapse in the stock market. Max Kaiser's talking about it. Does it really matter? If you're already prepared, you have a somewhat secure income source, you've notched things down to very bare minimum, collapse in the stock market just may not affect you. Now, there may be a situation where, your income gets wiped out. But at that point, if there's no opportunities to work at corporations or jobs at all, everybody's going to be in the same boat, and we're all going to be, hunting squirrels and rabbits together and out in the forest trying to kill deer or whatever. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. But as far as my kids, my kid just brought me a tea. As far as what I'm seeing, a most likely scenario is what we're seeing is long-term unemployment, high unemployment, similar to what we're seeing in Greece, similar to what we're seeing in Spain, where you just have a transition in society where you just have a lot of people out of work, and you have a large welfare state, and you have a lot of people having difficulty getting back into the system. And my advice for people would be not to get frustrated about it, to accept the new paradigm. We had to talk about this last night. I actually went out with some old friends. We talked about it over dinner. And there's a whole bunch of paradigms that are shifting. And instead of being upset, fighting about it, and having a coronary heart attack about it or whatever, and stressed out, they're paradigms and they're shifting, and we have to accept the paradigms that are shifting. And some of the large paradigms that are shifting are the attitudes of the young people. I'm talking teens and 20-something-year-olds, where they're not valuing the work that their older generations have done. They're not valuing the 40, 50-hour work week. They can't compete with the global marketplace. So in some ways, they're opting out. And our society gives them plenty of ways to opt out. If you want to check out, there's prescription medications. If you want to opt out, there's prescription marijuana. If you want to opt out, there's video games that you can play for 10 to 15 hours a day. There's all sorts of ways that you can drop out of the existing reality if it's too hard to handle. 5% of the world's population were taking like 70–75% of the psychotropic drugs. We are medicating Americans. We're basically creating the zombie class. And it's great while the food stamps are there and the welfare keeps flowing and, you know, VIP healthcare for the poor. That's fine as long as that's still there. And those people will not change because they are taking the least path of resistance. To me, it's an empty life. If you have a lot of time on your hands, I would say at least get involved in a hobby, volunteer in your community, and get focused on something. So, you know, I don't have a typical job, but I'm focused on the YouTube channel. I'm focused on the video. I'm focused on meeting other people and networking with other people. That's why I travel a lot, and that's why I do videos. And now we're exploring this Google Hangout thing. And once again, guys, I want to comment on the quality of the videos. I bought a $90 video cam, and the quality of the videos is decent audio-wise, but this granular aspect to Google Hangout it's on Google's end, it's on YouTube's end. It'll eventually catch up with the quality of other videos, but right now this is what you're dealing with, and a lot of people won't do the Google Hangouts. But the reason why I'm doing them is because they're getting a little bit better search parameters. Google's giving them a little bit, this is kind of where they want things to go. I will keep on doing videos, but I just want to focus on these Google Hangouts because it's almost like, in a way, it's a way for just a regular guy to almost have his own show, his own radio show and call-in show. And if you guys want to be a part of the show and you want to be, you know, you want to hang out with me, we've had up to like 4 or 5 people in here. All you got to do is go to my Google Plus account. Basically, you go to Google Plus. If you have a YouTube account, you do have a Google Plus account. Look for George Heminger in the black shirt with the building behind me. I have a couple accounts. Add me as a friend, and you'll get a notification. You can just join in. You can be you and me talking. So it was great yesterday. The day before yesterday, we had like 4 or 5 people in here. So real quick, that was one thing I wanted to talk about. The other thing I wanted to talk about, once again, I'm following Felipe Alexander. He's a very interesting guy. He's living a real great freedom-based lifestyle. He was in Hawaii for a couple years just backpacking. He's like me. He takes public transportation. And, you know, I was able to learn. Once you get to Hawaii, you can travel all around Hawaii for $1. That's fascinating. And he actually advocated signing up for an EBT card when you go to Hawaii, which is so funny. So literally, you go to Hawaii on a budget travel, go to their EBT office, and you get food stamps for $300, which is pretty gutsy and ballsy for him to recommend that. That I just thought was hilarious. So literally, he's traveling for $1 a day, and he's living off of he's traveling on the government dime, which is so funny. But you know, he's back in Hawaii, and he's doing some post thoughts on living in Hawaii, and I just found it fascinating because that's one of the things I want to do. Not, of course, on the government dime, but since I work on the internet and I'm starting these websites, I'd love to travel. So I follow Hobo Traveler, Retire JC, a couple people in Thailand, and I like the idea of living in a low-cost tax haven environment, spending $200 to $300 a month for a nice apartment. You know, basically living for under $1,000 a month, and being able to travel a lot when my kids get older, hopefully with my wife. Then the other, what happened to Michigan when cars were banned 115 years. I thought that was a fascinating article. I think we need to have, this is primarily a tourist spot, but I think we need to start designating more areas in this country that are pedestrian friendly and bike friendly. I see so many people driving their cars, even though we're having almost $4.50 gasoline here in California. And I'm just looking for states and cities to start really starting to promote bicycle riding and pedestrian walkways. I mean, you'd be killing two birds with one stone. You know, not only is it eco-friendly, say it'll save people money, but we have a major health issue here in America that could be solved just by people walking and doing a little bit of exercise. Since I got rid of my car 2 years ago, one of the things I've been finding, even though the diet changes and, you know, I'll gain a little bit, I haven't gone back to being really severely, not obese, but, you know, somewhat obese, because it's just the amount of walking I do. I mean, literally, to go to the thrift store, I had to walk about a mile just to go pick up my stuff, pick up some food for the kids, and walk back. Then I'm also watching a documentary about Stalin. I'm still studying Russian history. I find it fascinating. It's very interesting to me what the Russian people think of Stalin. There's like Russians that actually think of him as a good guy. There's others, of course, that think of him as one of the worst mass murderers in history. So right now I'm watching a documentary about him that's fascinating. I just got through part 1. Another article or a documentary I'm watching is How TV Ruined Your Life. Then I am looking at another one, America's Growth Corridors, the Key to National Revival, a new report. I'm really interested in development and how different areas of our country are surviving and thriving in the current economic environment. And will it be an urban area that's going to be the best place to live? Is it going to be a suburban area that's going to be the best place to live? Is it a rural area? I've gone away from the idea that the rural area is the best area, because in a lot of ways there's existing infrastructure in a suburban area or an urban area that you can take advantage of even if your income is low. So it's not always the best idea to go totally rural. It's just a personal choice. In fact, in some ways, in a true crap it's a fan scenario, you know, if you're in a rural area and you could actually be, you might in some cases be more of a victim. You know, if you can get to your bug out location by car, so can other people. And I'm not saying it's more dangerous to be in a rural area, but it's Farafal has talked about that in the collapse of Argentina. It's always great if you can be within yelling distance of your neighbor. Not that they'll come and help you, but that is somewhat of a deterrent to criminals. While especially if you're a woman, or let's imagine a mother-daughter alone, the guy's at work, and you're in the middle of nowhere, she's not able to get to her cell phone or a gun, you know, a small group of men could just basically have their way, and there's no one within yelling distance. You know, it wouldn't even matter if they yell. So that's something. K-Pax, if you ever see that Kevin Spacey movie, that's a interesting theme that I got from that movie, even though I know that wasn't what they were talking about. I was like, whoa, rural area, you got to be a little careful, because you know, people can't hear you scream. Then I'm following this other group of people that actually are into stimuli reduction. You know, kids get bored, people get bored, they're always looking for more ways to entertain themselves. I've never talked about this, but I'm kind of into this idea of stimuli reduction. You know, actually reducing the amount of time that I'm on the internet, reducing the amount of time I'm in front of a TV screen, spending more times doing nothing, so that way when I have access to entertainment, education, research, people talking, it's much more stimulating for me. So you can call it meditation, you can call it taking long walks, you can call it being alone. I'm kind of in this mode lately of stimuli reduction, especially as I head into the evening, because you know, if I get into hardcore topics, sometimes too late into the evening it gets difficult to sleep. I just spent an entire night watching House of Cards starring Kevin Spacey. It's a new episode. It's like 13 episodes for Netflix. And here's something fascinating that I'm finding right now is a lot of these huge websites, these media-based websites, are now starting to produce material, and they're able to produce material that is very entertaining. And it's fascinating because I read an article on it when Netflix was developing the series House of Cards. They knew by mining the data of their subscriber base that people loved Kevin Spacey, they liked David Lynch, so they actually put them together. And there was a lot of aspects of the episode they were able to put in just by looking at aggregate data of mining their user base. So is that something that we're going to be seeing in the future in media, instead of just people coming up with new ideas and trying to make things work for Hollywood? Are we going to see big websites start taking the role of like the HBOs and the, I know that was a big thing when HBO started producing content. It was like, whoa, cable's producing content. Well, now we're starting to see Yahoo. They did a comedy called Burning Love that I thought was hilarious with Ben Stiller, I think, was a producer on it. And then we have Netflix producing House of Cards with Kevin Spacey and David Finch. I just found it fascinating. Right now we're seeing the internet start to produce some entertainment content, and I just find it fascinating. So anyways, guys, that pretty much does me. I got like 3 or 4 cameras now, man. I just am going crazy. I got a camera that I can carry in my pocket. I got a really nice camera that I can put on a tripod and I can use as a steady cam. One was like $200, one was like $1,000. And then I'm going to get a contour cam that I can put on my bike because I want to get footage there. And then I want to get a little hidden camera. So I'm kind of like in a camera buying frenzy and equipment buying frenzy. I got an audio mic that works great if I ever need to use it. Trouble is finding the time to actually do videos and put them together. I might be doing a small group locally, like a meetup, or I might put an ad on Craigslist. I want to get together once a week with other people that are doing YouTube videos. It's really hard to kind of do this stuff on your own. So that's one of my goals, is to get together once a week with another group of guys that like to do video or that want to help me with video. So that's pretty much all I got on my plate. That's all I'm really here to talk about. And let's see. Thanks, guys, for coming in. I'm just checking out your comments. Here I am. Chad Lindsay, yeah, living in the street. City makes pretty much want to slit my wrists. Why is the picture so grainy? I explained that before. I have like $100 video cam. Google and YouTube are going to upgrade Hangout eventually, but right now this is the best quality they can do. Buy guns and ammo instead. Stop buying cameras. Buy some fruit trees. We just planted a fruit tree, Aaron. We got a lemon tree we just planted. Right now our garden is pretty much like down and out for the count. We got to get that going again. But there's plenty of fresh produce. See, that's the thing. When you have money, when you have a little bit of money, you can go. We got like 4 farmers markets in my area because we're in a suburban area and people are starting to really get into it. Plus we got a Trader Joe's. We got a whole bunch of organic produce. If you're just into produce, you can go very inexpensively and go buy that food. That's the problem with the gardening that I've learned. We had 4 gardens set up at one point. Is that the stuff that you're growing for such little effort, you can go buy it, but I guess you don't know for sure that they're not putting pesticides or whatever on it. But then I read things on that too, that plants themselves have their own pesticides and insecticides, and it's not cut and dry. It's not cut and dry, So let me just take a look at your comment. Have you think about having Badfinger on as a Badfinger is welcome to come on. I think he's notified of these. He can jump in anytime. Why not develop your own web series? I do. I mean, every time I put out videos, man, it's basically a web series. It's not going to be as professional as David Finch, but I do the best job I can. I mean, all of us have. Anybody that puts up YouTube videos is a web series. I mean, it's like your own personal web series. You got to have a good dog. That's what someone said. Good dogs are important, but remember, dogs cost money. They take time. They take investment. They're work to take care of, and people can poison dogs. They did that in Argentina, so they're not a fail-safe. In a rural area, you're already at your bug-out location. George, how long do your walking shoes last you? My walking shoes, I have a couple, so my walking shoes last me like a year, sometimes a year and a half, more. Electric scooters. What guy's YouTube channel lives in Hawaii? I'll put that all in the comment. I'll put that all in the description box. 70% of work can be arguably seen to be nefarious. There should be a desert island where one can go to get out of the matrix. Okay, guys. Yeah, I'm just checking out your comments. So, anyways, thanks, guys, for coming in here. Just looking at the comment section. I don't know if I'll keep this part in. I'll hang in here for like 15 more minutes. But I kind of promised my wife that I'd hang out with her tonight. She she's not feeling good at all. She just needs some. She needs some tender love and care. I'll probably be out of here in like 5 minutes, guys. Robert McKenna's how's the outdoor living going? I enjoy it. I love the outdoors. Anybody that likes being outside and being outdoors is my type of person. So for 7 days, I was living outdoors in the desert in Arizona with a bunch of gold prospectors, and man, we just got along perfectly fine. Most of the guys were older than me, but it didn't matter because we both, miners love to be camping outside. Miners and cowboys. I get along with those guys just fine. Even though I'm not, stereotypically, one of those types of guys, I just love the outdoors, so I get along with them so much. So I spend as much time outside as I possibly can, and probably 90% of the time, I still go out to the tent and sleep in there, hang out in there, just because I get claustrophobia, I get anxiety if I'm closed in too much. So I got a tent in the backyard. I sleep in it sometimes, actually a lot, and I feel real comfortable in there. And I got this tiny house. If I ever don't want to be there, I could be here. I got the big house I can go into too. Do you think the sequestering budget issue is a scare tactic, or is it really something drastic for us peons? I think the sequestering budget is, my gut feeling is that it's a total cluster suck. It's just a big mistake, and they're going to find a way. I mean, it means absolutely nothing. If they laid off or furloughed 800,000 government workers, it'd be the best thing for the economy. It doesn't mean an end to anything. So it's hard for me to even comment on it because I don't watch cable TV, so I don't even know how much they're talking about it. Which is the beauty of it. It's like I have no idea what's going on with the sequestering budget because I just don't follow it. I know it won't affect me. If it happens, it'll be a good thing because it'll allow the private market more money to do something. George, you said your uncle just recently opened a sushi restaurant. May I ask if your uncle's Japanese? No, he's not. He's not Japanese, but the restaurant's Japanese. We ate there last night with some people, and once again, I'm frugal, but we blew like $50 last night, and that's with a discount. So we go out to eat. We have a good time. It's not like staying home every day and cooking, oatmeal. You go out. I go out. I have a good time. Yeah. I mean, with the tax return I'm getting, I might even buy year passes to Disneyland. A lot of people will be like, "Oh my God, that's like ridiculous." Well, maybe it is, but we would go every Sunday, every week. My kids love it; they enjoy it. So I say live a frugal lifestyle, but also save up money for the things that you enjoy. So if you love motorcycles, save up and buy that motorcycle, man. If you love camping, go do that. Even if you love watches, maybe or whatever you like. You don't have to. I don't believe in the idea of pretending to be something just to fit into this survival mind frame. I believe in pursuing what is enjoyable to you. You may like kayaking, you may like biking, you may like crossword puzzles. I don't know. Everybody's different. We don't all have to be like urban survival. We don't have to be like Demcad. He's doing what he does, and or tactical response. We don't have to be all armed to the teeth. You can do whatever you want. Did you ever score any gold out there? Yeah, I did bring home a little gold nugget, which was awesome. I don't understand the Fed fund rates and yields. I just hear a lot of people throwing them around. Can you give me some basics about that? Oh God, I don't want to mess myself up there. Our local news was telling us about it's going to affect the local air base here. They'll have to furlough the Air National Guard. Should we take in a 20% cut in pay? Here the Army is hit too. Fishing equals food and fun. Liberty music all the way. Yeah, I mean, when you get your financial house in order, meaning you bring your debts and your bills and everything down to the lowest possible that you can, and you start having you're put into a situation where you don't have the same burdens as everyone else. So you can have a more free lifestyle. Like I found by reducing the rent payments and the utility payments and all the other payments, I really hate monthly payments. Now I have extra money where I can go travel. I can go be at the beach, for a couple days a week during the summer. I can go up to Sacramento next month. I can go to Calgary. I can travel and I can shoot video. So you actually find when you start lowering your costs, then you can start pursuing all these cool things that you want to do. You can pursue money making things too if you choose to do that. So a lot of times I do that. I'll go visit a subscriber. Like I think I'm going to go visit Ren up north, and we're going to talk about business things too, because he just opened an electric bike shop. I might sell some electric bikes and then make some money off of that. There's another idea. He's an expert at online dating, so I might do something like that. Maybe start a website for him to help other men. Because there's tons of men that don't know how to do it right. Ren is just like an expert man with the online dating scene. So it's just like I just keep coming up with ideas and stuff and try to do businesses with people. It's my background in sales. I was in title insurance for 13 years, about 13 years. Real estate and title insurance for about 15 years. So, a lot of entrepreneurial people, so I'm used to that. Robert Kenna, you should check out my channel sometime. Lots of guitar vids. Okay, yeah, cool. Michigan. I'd love to go to Michigan, man. I had a great time when I went to Detroit. So pretty much, guys, hey, thanks for tuning in. Too bad we couldn't get anybody else to join in. But if you guys would like to join in, I'm trying to do these Google Hangouts once a day, 7 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. So I'm just going to keep doing them for a while, as long as we have viewers and people in the comment section. It makes it a little bit funner when people come join me. And real quick, someone wants a tiny house tour? Sure. Here, let me give you the tiny house tour. The full tour, here's the tour. There's one side. There's the other side. There you go. There's your tiny house tour. There you go. And I'd show you the floor, but it's messed. I'll show it to you anyways. There you go. There's the table. There's a bunch of junk on the floor. There's more junk on the floor. There you go. It's a bunch of junk. So it's nothing fancy. Oh, and the bed. I could show you the bed too, but it's a little bed there that I got there. There you go. There you go. There's a tiny house tour, man. Super easy to clean, and it's still dirty. Amazing. It's very easy to vacuum. Literally, we're talking about 50 feet to vacuum. Okay. Okay, guys. Peace out. God bless. Take care. No,